happened, everyone? Day 5. Finally, this thing is over, right? I'm pretty tired. I gotta say, I've got 3 streams today. I've got this one. We got Stu and Neil here to wrap up the full streams on PulseChain products with Tetra, of course. And then in about 2 hours, about 2 hours or so, we will do the demo day. Again, any PulseChain builders, welcome to show up. You can take 10 minutes, kind of get in queue. Right now, we got Internet Money, Pulse Wallet, and maybe Power City. I'm not sure if they're going to send somebody or not yet right now. It's up in the air. And we got a bunch of other founders as well coming. So right now, there's a little bit of a queue. There's at least 2 people that are going first, so about 20 minutes. So after that, maybe closer to 5, it'll be closer to 5 o'clock Eastern. We'll have more people that can come in. Again, come in the green room, kind of message, do the private chat in the green room, tell me, who you are, what product you're with, all that stuff. And then I'll put you in the queue, and then we'll just go through it. We're going to do it live. We'll do it live for a couple hours. Should be good. But today, again, wrapping up. Oh, then after that, sorry, I got like a 30-minute, half-hour stream at nighttime, my time. But I told the Australian Hexicans they were doing the cruise that I would do a stream with them about 7:30 Pacific, around 10 o'clock Eastern time. If you want to hang out with some Australian Hexicans, they're doing a cruise and stuff. I'll be on there a little bit too. So this week has been great, though. A lot of great streams. Yesterday's one with PH Ecosystem was fantastic. The Coast one, we kicked it off with Coast. That was a great one. Mentor was a great one. Drawer literally minted me a testnet NFT of my avatar. We got through that on the stream. And then Wednesday, Maximus guys, that was a beautiful stream as well. So been a lot of great ones. I'm looking forward to taking a break tomorrow, though. Although I think I have Corey on the show on Sunday, but I'm taking one day off and I'll be back. So it'll be good. That being said, let's get them in the room. We got about 50 minutes or so with these guys. They're all on vacation, but however, they're joining us today. Welcome back to the show, Stu and Neil for T-Shares. How's it going, John?
Hey, Max.
Hey, Max.
Guys, you two may be building a product that could quite very well be, if you pull it off, no pressure, a game changer for PulseChain. That's the way I've described it before. You want to get into the vision and sort of what you're thinking with. I'll bring up the website as well so people can get a visual. I'll put it in the chat. But what is Tetra? Where did it come from, and why is it good for PulseChain?
Yeah. So thanks for having us on the stream, Max. The quick elevator pitch on Tetra is effectively a tool to allow you to automate your DeFi. The best way to describe it is if you can manually do something on the blockchain, you're going to be able to use Tetra to automate that in a systematic way. You're going to have access to a drag and drop builder that allows you to put together strategies or automations or auto compounders to do a multitude of different things. The use case is effectively limitless. So it's a great thing for PulseChain. It's a great thing for any blockchain that we eventually go to, because using it for things like arbitrage opportunities, things like this helps to bring stability to the entire ecosystem. So I mean that is effectively what it is. It's your own contract, it's your own strategy wallet on the blockchain that allows you to automate things that you would normally, would be quite protracted, time consuming, multiple, clicking buttons, and give you some of your time back.
Yeah, it's one of those things. There's different strategies. I want to go into each component too. So there's I've heard of Atlas. I've heard of the different, maybe the engines, smart contracts, and stuff that power this. So how does each piece fit together to make this whole engine work of deploying these strategies, automating them, and managing them?
Yeah, sure. So the first sort of port of call is Stratus, our front end, which is the drag and drop tool that allows you to put together the automations in the form of a flow chart. We've got some stuff on the website that kind of illustrates that. Not a huge amount. We've kind of demonstrated it mostly on live streams previously, but if you go to Stratus, so it loads up. There you go. So this is effectively what the front end looks like. You drag and drop different blocks in, and you connect them up through these connectors, which effectively creates a file. It creates a JSON file, in fact, and that holds the instructions that are then sent to what we call internally as a contract factory, and it generates a specific type of contract that is effectively a smart wallet. So that smart wallet or strategy wallet then can be accessed through Atlas, which is the consumer part front end. So anybody can use any of the tools that we've built. But Stratus is kind of for those that want to create the automations. You could just be, an influencer, a creator, somebody that's got some great ideas that wants to make it available for people within the community. And then you can publish that to the Atlas front end. So Atlas, if we click on the link to Atlas, there should be a couple of screenshots there, I think, is effectively like a dashboard. So there's a few different components within that kind of make it useful. So portfolio tracking, your current sort of status of profit and loss and things like that. But most importantly, you can search for and deploy automations that other people in the community have made. Also, if you've created an automation yourself and you make it private, then this would be the place that you go to effectively deploy it and manage it. So you would deploy the strategy, get it started. You could pause it, you could end it, you could restart it if it's completed, or just, in fact, drill down into the information to see what performance it's done over the course of the last month or couple of months or whatever it may be. So these are the two key elements to our user experience, if that makes sense. Well, a whole bunch of other stuff that happens in the background to facilitate it.
Yeah, it's just one of those pieces too, for the people who are trying to use it. So we got a little bit about how it works, but if I'm a user and I say, okay, I want to automate the haunted strategy, or I want to automate some kind of liquid loan strategy or power city strategy or whatever's in the ecosystem, hex staking strategy. I want to maybe do something around ink with PulseX and farming and yield farming and stuff like that. What would the user, how would they actually go about getting into the application to do it? What would they need to do it? And then maybe talk a little bit about the Tetra token as well and how it plays a role or not in automation.
Yeah. So to answer the first part of the question, we provide everything that anybody needs to want to create any kind of automation that they want. So the two core tools in our initial rollout are effectively Atlas and Stratus. So Stratus is the editor. That's kind of the tool that allows you to design your automation or put together your strategy through this very easy to use drag and drop interface. And what happens in there is that when you drag a block in and you tell it to go and look at, for example, the hex contract, what the system does is it recognizes what functions are available within the smart contract and allows you to visually program without a single line of code the things that you want each step within that automation to do. So, for example, you could say when the price of hex reaches X amount, then go to this PulseX liquidity pool or this Fux liquidity pool and buy this much of it. Or you could have it scan a few different pools. So it could buy up, amounts in each of these pools if you didn't want to suffer too much slippage or whatever it may be. So there's a whole bunch of things that you can do. And then once you reach your target amount that you want to kind of achieve at a specific price rate, let's say, or I mean, that could all happen in one go as well, of course, as the markets move up and down. But if you get your bag of hex at that price, and then you want to go and stake it, you can then automate that. You can stake it into a 12-month stake, or even create a staking ladder if you wanted as well, and then have the smart wallet or strategy wallet manage that on your behalf. So managing that is done through the Atlas front end as well. So you don't need anything more than what we're effectively providing in terms of these software tools.
So there's so have you talked about the marketplace aspect too? Is there'd be like a few different strategies that have been maybe upvoted or otherwise available that people have used before? And then, if you want to use your own strategy, you can, but also you can just choose from ones that community has built.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So in terms of that marketplace, anybody that creates their own strategy can publish that for the consumption of others. And the creators that choose to do that receive a very small sort of tip in the form of a fee, if you like, from the people that effectively use that strategy or automation. So you can create content that you only use yourself, or you can create content and publish it for public use within the Atlas marketplace or front end. So people can search for their favorite protocols and filter that to see what things they want to maybe do with those DeFi protocols. And if you wanted to automate it, you could filter it by that, your favorite or a few different types, to then be able to implement what's available that's been created by others.
And can you go through a scenario, for example, a lot of people might be using the PulseX farms, for example, to earn ink and things like that. They may be having hex stakes that they may have multiple stakes that end on certain days, or they want to do other arbitrage strategies. What is a thing that you could use Tetra for to automate, where you may be clicking a button every week or every day or every few hours, that you would use Tetra to be like, I don't need to do that anymore. It just automatically does it for me.
Sure. So I mean, if you're in a farm and the farm's ended, I mean, I'll be honest with you at this stage, like quite honestly, we are not providing any kind of indicators as to when a farm might end. If it can be tracked, if a farm can be tracked on the blockchain to say that the farm has ended, then your automation would know to then go and do something with it, if that makes sense. So the only, like, just to make this clear, what we're doing is we're providing price information that feeds into the contracts. But if you have a situation where you can get on-chain data that triggers a next step, if that makes sense. So, for example, a farm ending, then as long as you can access the information to say that farm has ended, you can then have it trigger to go and do the next thing. So that could be to go and take your yield, create, go and put it into the next. Well, you would need to know what farm it would need to be, obviously, but sell your incentive token, sell your yield and take your profits. So it kind of depends what you really want to do with it.
Yeah, so for the farms, and then even for hex stakes and otherwise, like, I'm just trying to give people a tangible example of, okay, I can do all this stuff myself. Why would I use Tetra, for example? Like, what does Tetra do? Does it give me my time back? Does it make this process?
It does. I mean, that is ultimately one of the really key things. Is number one is giving you your time back, but again, not being in a position where you need to be constantly looking at your screen. Especially for things that are affected by price. So if price moves in a specific direction, and which it can do obviously in crypto in big ways, that if you want to take advantage of those situations, then Tetra is obviously a really great tool to do that. When you're involved in protocols that maybe have really complicated tokenomics and different things that you can do, and you have a really great idea about how you want to manage all of that, then this is definitely the tool for you. But I mean, obviously, time sensitive executions that are triggered by price is really one of the big things, and then taking that and going and doing something with it. But we're doing it in a decentralized way, and that's what's most important. Is that there are tools out there that allow you to swing trade a specific asset, for example. When it reaches this price, then buy so much. When it reaches that price, then sell so much, and so on and so forth. And it goes all the way across the chart. And you hope that you've come away with some profit at the end of it. What we're trying to promote is the ability to be able to take complex interactions and package it up in such a way that really makes it very simple for people to pre-plan the things that they want to happen, and regardless of the time that it takes for those situations to be present within the market as well. So you could create the most ridiculous automation that buys, sells, stakes, and does all of these different things that are out with kind of realistic expectations, so to speak. It might happen, but it might take 2 years, right? or you might create a strategy within realistic expectations of the current market as it is at this time right now, and say, well, if I kind of narrow my expectations down a bit, then those things might execute themselves within a much shorter period of time. So the contract itself will only execute things when the market conditions are met based on the information and the things that you tell it that you want it to do. So, the great thing about that as well is that it forces you to think ahead, to pre-plan, your kind of goals, if you like, and what you want to get out of the market, where it is at a particular point in time or over a very long period of time as well. So, and it's done in a decentralized way.
I think when I look at Tetra too, I could see a lot of people using it. I mean, just basically a small number, maybe 5 or 10% of people using Tetra will probably be making their own strategies. They'll be actually in the weeds thinking about these different ways. How can I make this more efficient? How can I apply it to the protocol? Bringing people from different products who are interested. Hey, Power City guys, come create your strategies. Like Lung, come create your strategies. That's a really cool part of it. But I think that'll be a smaller percentage. Majority of people, I imagine, will just be looking at the community provided ones. They'll be saying, okay, I'm a member of this community. I have these coins. I have this staking or yield farming or minting or whatever it is. And I just don't want to manage that. I want this, decentralized smart contract to manage it. And they could use Tetra for that, the majority of people. So I think having these different strategies, on the screen too, you got PX staking ladder, you get some different trading ones too. Having those available will really make it a lot easier for people who are just not technical. They just want an easier time managing their crypto. They want to maybe make more money because the strategy is more efficient than clicking themselves. Exactly. They don't need to set an alarm clock for it.
Exactly. Yeah, precisely. That's the thing. So, you know what it's like when you're looking at the charts constantly. And that's good. It's good to be in the know. It's good to be, in a position where you know what the market's doing. You need to have that. You need to have that valuable knowledge to be able to plan what you want to actually do, of course, right? But if you're sort of walking around with your phone and you check the price, maybe first thing in the morning, lunchtime, when you finish work, and then maybe a couple of times in the evening, right? You can still have your finger on the pulse, so to speak, pun intended, right? But not have to run away and grab a hardware wallet and fire up your laptop and try and catch the dip, So you can sort of bask in the glory of being able to sleep at night and not have to worry about getting the opportunities or the things that need to happen when you want them to happen. So it's a big deal.
So that's a great visualization, just to, instead of walking around checking your phone, oh, the price went up at a certain time. That's fine. I said, I have the strategy deployed. Tetra's doing it for me. I don't need to go do anything. I don't need to leave vacation early to go make sure some big trade goes through. Otherwise, Tetra's got it. That's the hope, and it's like the vision, right? To automate a lot of these things where it gives you your time back, it gives your confidence back. As long as everything's working properly.
Exactly, and that's it. So we're in a position right now where literally everything's finished. We're ready to go to launch on testnet. We were originally slated to launch at the beginning of September, but then we had the issue with the OKX situation, and we were actually partnering with Rubik, similar to Power City, to provide a DEX aggregator situation that we really need for our tool. And obviously we want to create as much of a closed loop as possible to keep the fees within our own ecosystem. And quite happy to share a bit of the DEX aggregator fees with Rubik, because they've got a great tool. But they obviously suffered tremendously because of what had happened. And, it was a big issue for us. I mean, we just couldn't launch because the way that the system works, it was, especially for Atlas anyway, it was going to create a bit of a problem for that initial release. So during the course of that weekend, we decided, we need to solve this problem. How are we going to do it? We're going to wait for Rubik to come up with a fix to this, or can we create our own DEX aggregator in a shorter period of time, or even if it takes just a little bit longer, is it going to be worth it? So we said that we were going to go ahead and create the DEX aggregator. So we've done that. It's actually been in for audit, for security audit for the last couple of weeks. These guys are on the west coast of the US, so they're quite a bit in terms of time behind me. But we're due it back hopefully today. We get that green light, and we're effectively ready to start rolling things out on testnet, and then mainnet imminently after that. So, you know, we're really, really close with, you know, just from the sort of, you know, I know what it's like in crypto. Everybody kind of needs to get their hands on it, see that it's working, it does what it says it on the tin, kind of thing, you know. And we've been desperate to try and get everything out as quickly as possible, while jumping over as many hurdles that have been thrown in our way. But we're now in a position where we effectively rely on no other third party for anything, in terms of our product offering in the first instance, right down to the point where we've got our own RPC and archive node that is running, that is, you know, so even if Richard's stuff went down on AWS or wherever he hosts it, or whoever else provides any other public RPCs, if any of that stuff disappears, it has no impact on us whatsoever. So it was a good opportunity for us to take a step back and say, let's look at the current situation right now, because that was kind of a bit of a shock with the Rubik stuff. We wanted to be in a position where we did not rely on anybody else for anything, and we're now in that position, which is absolutely fantastic. So as soon as we get these security audits back for the DEX aggregator, which is pretty cool, we can talk about that as well. There's a few cool features in there. Then we're ready to release stuff on testnet, let people get their hands on it, get some feedback, but ultimately, you know, I want this on mainnet ASAP.
Yeah, I think everyone else does too. They're been excited about Tetra this whole summer, and it's just one of those products. Like literally, I'm very excited to play with as well. I'm literally, my thing is like, I will spend money to get more time back these days. Like I'm tired of like saving money I'm spending time to save money. I'm on getting my time back and spending money on that, or spending time learning platforms that help me do that. So very interesting.
And it's actually kind of quite fun to use as well, to be honest. Like the drag and drop interface, which I demoed a while ago on Stream with Lit, and who else was on there?
I was there. It's lit.
Oh, so you were. That's a bigger pardon.
So.
Yeah, that's right. For a short time, that's right. Yeah. So and Kool-Aid and Corey Geary was there as well, I think, which was great. So that was a really good opportunity to let everybody. But the point I'm trying to make is it's actually quite fun to use, and it gives that visual layer to the blockchain that you've never really experienced before, you know. And I think it's very intuitive, and people will enjoy using it, and it'll help to get adoption, and you know, I hope that's the case. I'm sure it will be. But getting your time back for a small fee is surely worth it.
Speaking of fees, I want to get into a couple questions too. So will Tetra only do a trade if profit outweighs the 0.5% fee?
No, it doesn't. And the 0.5% fee, as I've said in the past, is we are listed. We've been listening to the community. We've not came up with a final number on it. We're going to kind of wait. I want it to be reasonably priced, obviously, but the bottom line is that the fee that's associated with using the platform is not, so the action that needs to be performed is not controlled by whether you make a profit less the fee. So you need to think about, when you're programming it, that you need to have enough appreciation and value, or enough return and yield from a stake or a farm or whatever it may be, that outweighs what the fee is. But I mean, the fee's small. We're talking about 50 cents within $100 of a move. So, you know, it's really nothing.
And well, speaking of that, you want to talk about the tokenomics a little bit, and where the fees go and stuff like that?
Yeah, so the fees go to those that stake Tetra token. You don't need to hold Tetra token to use the protocol. It's completely separate. It has no impact whatsoever on your ability to be able to simply just use the tools that we provide. So
I'm just pulling up the chart here of Tetra P.
Yeah, so the tokenomics are really very straightforward, Max. You stake your Tetra tokens in the Tetra pool to receive yield in stable coins from users that use the software. It's really that simple.
And when you stake your coins, how does that, what happens then?
There are no time locks. You can add and remove coins. You can use your yield to buy more if you want, and just keep adding to it. You know, it's really up to yourself. There's no limitations in terms of what you can do. You will take them all out and sell them, whatever you want. So there's and no tax in the system whatsoever as far as a Tetra token is concerned. It really is quite as simple as if you hold, acquire, or earned Tetra tokens, you can stake them to get a proportionate share in the fees that are generated by the software tools. And it's that simple. You can remove them, you can add them. There's no penalties. There's no, no nothing. It's just stake, get fees, unstake, don't get fees. It's really that simple.
And are the fees, are they more Tetra? Are they stable coins? How are they?
It's all stable coins. So the point is that from a user's perspective of the protocol, whether you're using Atlas or Stratus or any of the other things that we build, you will never need to hold our tokens to use our tools. You will simply just pay fees in the form of a portion of, so for example, in the DEX aggregator, a portion of your overall swaps, for example, or in gas or whatever it may be, or when it comes to utilizing the strategies, you need to have stable coins in your smart wallet that pays for the fees as and when each step of a automation actually takes place. So those fees are collected in stable coins and delivered to stakers in stable coins.
Gotcha. Crypto Ethos, so can I dictate a date or amount in the strategy wallet regarding a specific yield farm to move somewhere else that I dictate, that I choose?
As long as the yield farm exists at the point when the yield farm that you're exiting, at that time, and that's why it's a bit more tricky with kind of yield farms, because they kind of come and go. But if you can stake into a yield farm that's perpetual, for example, or is going to be there for a long time, kind of like DAI, Pulse, the big pools kind of thing, they're always going to be there, right? At least that's what we hope anyway, that you can move in and out of those as long as they exist. And of course, at the same time as well, you can. So here's another use case then for yield farming. Neil's dropped off. I don't know what's happened to him. He must have lost signal, but he would have been a much better person to answer this question, because I know he does a lot of this sort of stuff. But,
come back, Neil.
Yeah, I know. But in essence, if you wanted to move around in yield farms, right? As long as, and Neil would be able to answer this question better than me, but as long as the percentage of yield could be calculated by the on-chain information that was available, you could automatically move your assets around, let's say RH products, right, to take advantage of the best yield within a particular pool or farm at any given time. So, the point I'm trying to make here is that as long as you can get access to the information on chain, and I mean, so put it another way, this is something that the community might turn around to us and say, well, we can't get the on-chain information about the yield that you can get in a specific farm. Stu, team, guys, can you provide that additional information of off-chain info that we can deliver to our smart contract? Yeah. So that you can actually then have an automated manager in moving around different yield farms to take advantage of the best yield at any given time, and automatically, in an automatic way. So that is, I mean, these things are absolutely possible. This specific question is kind of difficult for me because I don't know if the percentage yield information is actually available through the subgraph. If it's available through the subgraph, then we can deliver it through our our internal oracle, if that makes sense, to provide those trigger points of percentages, so that people can utilize a strategy that takes advantage of a percentage change, and then it opens up like a total can of worms in terms of what you can actually do with that information, you know?
Yeah, it's another one too that I think Neil's talked about before. But yeah, can we automate off-ramping stable coins onto a DEX or wallet? I think he's even talked about like kind of like passive income, setting up strategies to pay yourself over time with profits from strategies or otherwise from your wallet. So that sounds like a thing that can exist. Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we have been in, discussions with Coast, for example, as far as their stablecoin on ramp is concerned, and it's not going to be a feature that would be available right at the very start, just because I think there's some limitations on what they wanted to provide as an SDK. I don't think they would mind me talking about this publicly, but we kind of had to work out a workaround to make it work, and we know what that is. So they've got some stuff that they're doing. We're obviously getting ready for launch. We want to get into a position where we've got a live product out, and then we're starting to add in some of these really nice to have features. So the great thing about Tetra is that it's a really modular system from a development perspective, and it allows us to add these nice to have features that we've kind of promised. So yeah, I mean, it'll be there. Yeah.
Fast Abdul, Tetra will be the start of New World Order, Web3 order. Kicked off, learn now or be kicked off the island.
Yeah.
Fast also said we had to get rid of Neil. He knew too much. He does know a lot of things. He does know a lot of things.
That's true.
I think, yeah, a lot of these questions, Chad, I'm just scrolling through. I think you've answered them already as far as the fees and how stakers get paid. Right. That's some of the thing that's just kind of, I just want people to understand like exactly how, first of all, the strategies, second, how they can use it. And third, how, what the Tetra token does, for example, if they want to buy some or otherwise, like what are they actually buying? You don't need it to use the platform, but you can use it to get, you can get yield from the fees generated in stable coins. So just want to make that clear. So it's not a traditional strategy, right? Usually it's like, oh, you got to have the token to use the platform or some way. So this is like, oh, you don't have to use it, but if you do, then you get paid yield.
Yeah, well, that's it exactly. So it's completely optional, opt in or not opt in. It's entirely up to you. But I don't like to sort of hype up the fact that we've got a token. And the thing is that if you want to get a share in the fees, then you can go and acquire some. But there is no requirement for you to do that. Some people think that's bullish, right? But personally, for me, I think it's really just like it's a matter of principle as far as I'm concerned. It's kind of like having your share within a business. The business makes a profit. You own shares and you get a proportion of the profits. It's really just that. It's a very simple model that has worked in traditional business and finance for a long, long time. So there's no reason that it couldn't work with what we're doing. I think when people realize the power of the product and what it can do for them, that it's a great opportunity for them if they want to get involved, but it's not required.
Yeah, it is one of those simple revenue sharing deals, and the whole thing, to make it interesting is you got to believe the fees will be substantial on the platform, and if you see what it can do and you see all the strategies and you see people using it, hopefully it gets widely adopted and creates a lot of, as a PulseChain validator, I'm excited too, because that's more automation, that's more or less people clicking buttons, more efficient fees coming our way.
Absolutely.
And that way too. So it's very, very simple model, very interesting. Question here from Mr. Montefontaine. Will this come to Binance Chain, Poly, Ethereum?
Yes. Yeah, well, we can support any EVM chain. We're also in discussions where other protocols as well, who are going to be sort of moving or they are launching on other chains where we're going to have really deep integrations with a lot of the things that they're doing too. So any EVM chain is supported, and it's not particularly difficult for us to provide support if it wasn't an EVM chain as well. So we will be a multi-chain product. Yeah.
Gotcha.
It'll be down to the
here.
community as well. So, we'll probably put votes out. It's like, where would you like to move next? Where do we want to go next? Where do we want to launch next? And wherever people want it, then it's relatively straightforward for us to do that.
Sure. Next thing you're asked, is Tetra a fork of something else?
No. So some of the closest stuff that comes to what we're building looks like Euro Combo on Ethereum, or DeFi Saver, which is a front end for multiple different DeFi protocols on Ethereum network. We use similar technology to DeFi Saver as well, in terms of the type of the smart contracts that we're using for creating the automations. I mean, these are cool tools, but they do lack an ability for really anybody to get involved, because the front ends and interfaces are really quite complicated, to say the least. And the second part of that as well is that you cannot build your own custom stuff. Euro Combo you can to an extent, but DeFi Saver you can't create anything that is your own kind of custom automation, if that makes sense. So these are really good working examples of stuff that is kind of half the story of what Tetra is, and we're taking it to the next level, if that makes sense. So we're not forking any of these things, just to be clear. It is completely new code across the board.
Great question. So we talked about tokenomics. Yeah, did you want to talk about the DEX aggregator?
Oh yeah, the DEX aggregator, which is cool. So we've not got anything on the website about this, because literally for the last 4 or 5 weeks we've been super busy building this, like to the point where I've been quite absent within the community. But we've got a great community team that have been picking up the slack, and we're in the bear market anyway, so we may as well be building. But yeah, we've got some, I mean, really just straight to the point, quite simple. Couple of cool features. You can have up to 5 input tokens to get 1 output token on the DEX aggregator. So it'll scan all of the pools on the PHUX, PulseChain V1, PulseChain V2. We've also integrated the ability to utilize any Uniswap V3 pools when they become available. So we just need to get a subgraph from that protocol when they launch. So I think is 9mm. I think they're going to have again, Neil would be better with this because he's got more sort of info on what's happening in the market, who's launching what. But I think, and then we've got 9inch as well. I think they're going to have V3 pools, so we'll be able to support those guys straight out of the box. But one of the really cool features is, like I was saying, you can have up to 5 input tokens. So let's say it was like DAI, like 5 stable coins, to then use that to go and buy another stable coin because it was depegged, let's say, or you could use it to exit a trade position across 5 different assets that you thought were going to start to drop and you wanted to get out of them all quickly and get into a stable coin. So there's like a plethora of different things that you can use this for, like just that really simple extra element of being able to have 5 input tokens, 1 output token. So that's one key part. And we've got a couple of other things that we've done with the DEX aggregator that, we're kind of keeping up our sleeve at the minute, so we can see if we can maybe beat others to market as well. So, but we're waiting for the security audit. That's the key part. I've kind of, updated the community. Friday updates became a thing in the Tetra Telegram, just to let everybody know kind of what's been happening and how we've been progressing. So once we get that security audit update back, I'm going to be in a position where we can really start to commit to dates for getting things launched, because we're ready to go. We're ready to launch. We're ready to do it.
Hoorah.
Yeah.
I got a question here from Crypto Ethos. How does Tetra spinning up its own nodes help Tetra?
A few different things. So we can avoid front-running bots and things like that. Well, actually, that's not entirely true, because we're not going to make it a public RPC. We might put out a public RPC once the protocol's generating fees, and we can give people a private RPC that's kind of our thing, or whatever. You pay for it, you get an API. Don't know. I've not really thought about that, so that's maybe not entirely true. The most important thing about having our own RPC and archive node is that we do not require or rely on any other third party to be able to access the information, execute trades, do stuff on PulseChain. It's our own thing, if that makes sense. So God forbid, I mean, in fact, I'm not even going to go there with this comment, but let's say somebody had an RPC and archive node, and they suddenly shut it down, and that was like your sort of primary way being able to access blockchain, then you need to find an alternative. So if everybody else's RPC shut down tomorrow, it would not have an impact on us. I think that's the most important thing about it, is having that level of extra decentralization, which is being promoted among the Builders Guild and the groups, the people that are building for PulseChain.
Gotcha. Regarding the DEX aggregator, were there any fees for Tetra holders?
Yeah. The fees that are generated from the DEX aggregator will simply just go into the main Tetra staking pool. So any fees that are taken from that will 100% go into the Tetra staking pool. It's that simple.
There's a recent staking event that was, I remember too. Let me unzoom this one. One sec. Just want to cover that while we're here too.
Yeah.
110%. Yeah, so if you go to home and talk, was it stake Tetra? Where was it where you could go and stake?
Just change the .win to .run.
Tetra.run. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, you want to cover this one?
Sure. Yeah, cool. So we had a bunch of different pools that people could get involved in, which were the Prism pools. And these were stake your Tetra to earn more Tetra. These pools are finished now. So you can go and stake, you can go and unstake your Tetra, get your yield in the form of more Tetra, which really is the only way that you're going to be able to get more Tetra through staking. So that's all finished now. I mean, these pools filled up within like 50, I think one of them filled up in 15 minutes. And then the longest one took like about 25 minutes when they opened. So there is no late end stake fees or any kind of penalties at this stage now. So you can freely just go and stake them whenever it pleases you, and get your principal back and your yield. Anybody that emergency unstaked at certain points forfeited yield or took a hit on their principal, and all of that was returned to those that seen those pools through for the full period. So they were reasonably short pools, but they all paid about 15% APY, equivalent to for that 2-month period, which is actually more APY wise, but so it was a pretty good deal. So those that got involved in that are, I think, quite happy.
How does this fit into the Tetra ecosystem? Like, will it be more pools? Like, how does this event fit in?
Yeah, not like this. This was kind of something that we had done where we wanted to be able to be in a position to reward early adopters that were here at this stage. So it was an opportunity to kind of do something with your Tetra, and while we were getting things prepared, building and getting things ready to launch as well. So it took a lot of Tetra off the market, like huge amount. I can't remember the exact numbers, but it was, I think it was like it was about 4 billion Tetra or something like that, or those numbers might actually not be far from it. I don't know. I think those so that total amount of Tetra that was staked that's on that was in fact the total amount. So 3 billion Tetra, and then the total rewards that equated to the 15% was, I mean, it's 450 million that we gave out in rewards. And you look at our price chart, and people are still holding. They know what they've got as far as Tetra's concerned. So we've really not dropped below, well, a little bit of fluctuation. I mean, we've got the price of Pulse to kind of compete with on a day-to-day basis, whether it's up or down, obviously. But our ratio to Pulse has not changed since effectively we moved to the PulseChain a few months ago. So we've really just been traveling sideways. And if you zoom out a bit on that chart, perhaps onto the daily, Max, just to get a bigger overview, I mean, you can see that, yeah, if you go into the daily and zoom it right out, yeah, that's the one. Yeah. So we've kind of held this launch price when we moved over to the PulseChain network. And I mean, ultimately, that price is 4x from sacrifice investment rate. So everybody's on a 4x still on Tetra, even though you're looking at this chart and it looks like it's traveled sideways for the last few months kind of thing. So, you know, I'm really proud of the fact that we've got a really core diamond hands community that just want to be able to stake their Tetra to get the fees. And it's really evident for the chart. So, which is still a 4x from SAC, which is brilliant. So,
yeah. Is that why people buy Tetra? Like, is that the pitch is, hey, if you want to, again, share in revenue sharing, if you want to be able to share in the fees of the platform, you buy Tetra and then you stake it and then you earn those fees and stable coins. That's the pitch.
Yeah, that's it. It's really that simple. It's not a difficult concept to grasp for people. And if they understand what the protocol is all about, then it kind of makes sense. I think once we've got our live product out there, operational, actually generating fees, then it becomes a game changer, because the guys that are holding Tetra are probably going to buy more Tetra if it's performing well. So we're in a situation now where, you know, you're basically getting like prices that are historic from back in July, which might be an opportunity. Again, I don't like to shill the token. And the price doesn't matter either, because it's all about the percentage you hold, which then gives you your fees in the system as well. So you can buy it or not. It's up to you.
That is a very interesting concept. Like the price, it's not, you know, the price goes up. Of course, you can sell the Tetra for more than what you bought it for. But if you want to keep earning the fees in stablecoin, get the passive income from staking it, then
well, Max, think about what gives a token its value. If the token has value, right, is it because the price went up or the price went down? So a token can have more value because the price goes up, because more people want it. Why? The question that people need to ask themselves is, why do you want the token? Do you want the token because you think more people are going to buy it, which is really risky? Or do you want to buy it because you can stake it to get passive income in stable coins? Yeah.
It's a good way to put it. Speculation versus, I mean, using it to, you know, to do something. I mean, I guess it is speculation versus kind of utility. You could put it in utility category. You're using it for something. You need it to earn other money.
Exactly. And it's really, really straightforward in my mind, you know, so that's the way I see it.
Well, great explanation. Yeah, it's so different. Like I said, this product and the whole tokenomics and stuff are way different than most products on PulseChain. I had a question from that too. So when you're staking it, are you earning? So for example, if this goes multi-platform, goes Ethereum, BSC, Polygon, whatever, are you earning fees from everyone using the other ones, or is it just the one that you are on the platform?
Just the one you're on. So the way, so we've got, we're launching on PulseChain first. That is going to be our kind of inaugural launch. That's where we will kind of say as home, if you like, right? And then everywhere else that comes after that will be a separate launch. It'll be a separate token allocation, but we are going to create interoperability between these different instances, if you like, of Tetra that exist on different chains, so that you can have multi-chain strategies that interoperate with each other across different blockchains. However, if you move value from one chain to another and then start to execute transactions on chain B, let's say, that any steps within that automation on chain B are delivered to those that hold and stake Tetra on that chain. So each instance is independent of each other, although they still will communicate with each other.
Gotcha. A couple other questions here before we wrap up. PSI 931. I love reading some of these usernames. Awesome. Assuming audit is all good, what's the timeline for user access going forward? Not necessarily dates, but like different releases.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Actually, I'll need to grab. Let me quickly grab an update that we put out, and I will tell you.
Okay.
Just a second. Right. Okay. So, what is it? Just bear with me a second, please. Yeah. So, what we anticipate to happen is a DEX aggregator audit gets a green light. We're going to put the DEX aggregator on PulseChain public testnet. We're going to have Atlas on public testnet. And we're going to have a closed beta situation or a closed testnet situation on the public front end for Stratus. And there's loads of different reasons for that, which we can go into in a different thing, or if people want to ask in the chat, I can explain it further. We're just not going to have time today. But after that, and we're happy that everything is working, we get some community feedback. It is literally all guns blazing, engine started. We're going to be on mainnet as soon as possible after that. So, and people need to understand as well is that we've had this running on a private test environment for a very long time now. We've been running unit tests. I don't know if you know what that means, but it's predetermined. Oh, yeah. Right. Okay. So unit tests on the software as we've been developing it. So we know it's robust. We know it's really, really robust. And then obviously we've had internal tests. We're going to take it to a public test net and try and, get people to break it. I don't know, I don't think that's going to happen. But more importantly, we want to make sure that there's no security vulnerabilities within that. And then everything else that we want to build on top of it is going to be super easy. So getting these core elements, the 3 core elements, which is the DEX aggregator, the Stratus element, and the Atlas element live. And that is kind of going to be our trifecta, if you like, that is going to allow us to then build so much more on top of it. So I want to get the security audit back for the DEX aggregator, get all of this stuff out onto testnet, because the DEX aggregator is a really important element to the whole thing. And because we're building it ourselves and not using a third party, I feel that it's really important for us to make sure that this is tested thoroughly on a testnet. Otherwise, if we were using Rubik, like what we planned previously at the beginning of September, and that was all fine and the OKX shit never hit the fan, then we would be live on mainnet right now. So I'm glad that happened. I'm disappointed it happened, but I'm more glad for the positive reasons, as you can imagine. So I want to make sure that the DEX aggregator goes through a rigorous public test, and then we can move to mainnet very soon after. So I'm prepared to commit to a date when we get our security audit green light, and that is imminent. But
it will be. Can you confidently say you're launching this year? It's not going into 2024.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. There's no doubt about that. Yeah.
You got a couple months left. I'm just like, I'd really like to play with this year.
We're talking, few weeks maximum. I would like to say that we're going to, again, don't hold me to this because I'm deliberately not saying dates, right? But if we get a green light in the next 24 hours on the DEX aggregator contract, we'll be on testnet next week. There's no doubt about that.
Okay. Is that like a Richard Hart 2 more weeks, or is that like a Stu 2 more?
It's a few more weeks.
Okay.
Couple weeks. Yeah.
Like, oh guys, 2025. We're doing Tetra testnet. We're still waiting for testnet now. Okay, that's awesome. Red Squirrel asked. He pokes me about security concerns. I'm not the person to answer that because I have not security reviewed it. The auditors would be speaking more to that. However, I think that a lot of the security stuff. A lot of my background is in the network side and the software website side of that stuff being secure. So you definitely, I definitely hope you all are also getting, in addition to contract audits, getting the website pen tested, getting people to try to break the website. So if they replace it with another website and people start clicking buttons, you don't want, bad things to happen, of course.
Well, we've not only that, I mean, we're taking great care with all of that kind of stuff. But we also have future things that are planned that will remove that risk entirely. And I'll tell you, I'm really excited to speak to you about that much closer to the time. It's not the right time right now, but we do have a solution with Tetra where we're going to be able to further decentralize the blockchain itself. And I'm really excited about that as a totally separate pillar to our whole ecosystem.
Sweet. Yes, it's importante. The whole stack. I mean, you got the contracts, you got the dApp side, you got the website, you got the infrastructure, you got the nodes. I mean, there's like securities all up and down the stack. So it sounds like you guys are aware of the different concerns, and you got to take this stuff seriously. Like, Curve Finance gets hacked, websites get hacked, people start clicking buttons. No bueno indeed. So we hope less of that happens on PulseChain, especially with the principles that our community is very fond of and has been repeated millions and millions of times so far. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Cool. I think that's all we got as far as questions. And I know, we're going to keep this around an hour or two. So I'll wrap up there. Again, chat, you guys have been awesome. We got demo day coming up in about 1 hour. Yeah, hour 15. I'm going to take a quick break and then come back on stream to do some more demos. Stu, always a pleasure, man.
Absolutely.
Really appreciate you coming on. This is something I wanted to wrap it up with too, because it's what I've been asking all the founders. Again, just to reiterate, people joining late or otherwise, I've got my Hex bag, I got my PLS bag. What does Tetra do for me that I don't already, that I can't already do? Just briefly.
In terms of holding Tetra or the tools.
Just the platform. You talk about the token too, but just what like, you don't say why I need Tetra. Nobody needs Tetra. Nobody needs anything. But like why? Yeah. Funny enough, in this case, it's special. You really don't need to use the platform.
So don't buy it. So don't buy it. And the money that you wanted to go and use to buy it, go and use it to auto compound to make more money, and then maybe buy some with that. How's that?
Right. That's certainly what I'm excited to be using it for as well. I mean, you could have literally said anything to the answer. I'm like, I want to try that. I want to try that on Tetra. I'll try it. So,
yeah. I know.
Very cool.
And loads of people in the community are coming up with great ideas on how they can utilize it too, and I always said that right from the very start is that we were never going to be in a position where we could ever truly, identify everything that Tetra could be used for. So, that's exciting to see as well.
That's the virality fact, that you have people who are motivated, incentivized to find interesting ways to use it based on their own bags and otherwise, and community. You want to have the community, or just want to grow those, do things more efficiently. And you have all the builders in the community who have people who want to support, they're going to want people to support those products, because that's going to create more maybe fees and stuff for them and their products. So it's pretty simple. It's like this simple, very, like it seems pretty healthy ecosystem to me as far as that goes. Again, you guys pull this off, game changer for PulseChain from what I can see so far.
Yeah.
Shout out to Neil too. It's all right, man. We'll have you back at some point. Good luck on your hunt or otherwise. Good luck on your time off there. Appreciate everyone. Again, come back in a couple hours. If you want to learn more about Tetra, I've had the website up for half the stream, tetra.win. Tetra.run for the staking Prism pool that they did as well. And Stu's on Twitter, StuMan5555, as well as Telegram channel that Squirrel also posted in the chat. So that's all we got for you today. Again, Stu, thanks for coming on. Great to see you. And you'll be back for many more conversations and demos, I hope, in the future.
Absolutely. Thanks, Max. I appreciate it.
Of course. Scivive and 5555, everyone. See you soon.